And I remember when you called me, you said, I showed this to everyone and you got a raise.
Yeah,
Yeah, this commercial gave you a raise and solidified you as the video content production manager now. That's all right. All right, we're back. Took a quick break. Technical difficulty that we solved. Sam, on it. All right, where were we? We were talking about our relationship. Okay, so what I was saying is what I always noticed with you, which was hilarious, is that when we did our 2-day shoots, when we finally worked our way up to like real budgets, day one, you always came in like super focused, little stressed. You're like, all right, this gotta go good. Yeah, a lot to get done. Yeah. and then the day two came. Totally different guys, like laughing, jovial, making jokes. You know what I mean? And like everyone was just like having a blast. So I always liked our second day on the 2-day shoots because that's when
usually lighter too.
Oh yeah,
like
and
workload.
Workload was always lighter, and it was always like everyone was just having fun on set. Mm-hmm. But we did do a good job at making the sets light and fun and joking around, but like also taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, people. I still work with a lot of these people to this day.
Yeah.
You know.
That's true.
There's Scott smiling. Look at him. So anyways, so you missed the camaraderie. Is there anything else you miss?
Yeah, I mean, just being, I haven't honestly been working with a team this consistently for this long since.
Gotcha.
If you think about it. So yeah, I mean, just being able to have people I can trust to know what they're doing and let them
Remember
go.
our saying we'd always say to younger kids when they come on set, you'd always go, look, if you want to make it in this business, just do what you say. And
blast off. You'd be surprised how simple that concept is here. It's like work hard and deliver exactly what you say, and you will be successful.
Yeah, it's that
don't
simple in
promise
California.
You can't deliver on.
Yeah, like people think it's all about becoming famous in Hollywood. It turns out in any of the video production world, all you got to do is just do what you say.
Say what you do. Yeah.
Okay, I actually want to get into this too. So I want to talk to an important part of your and I career together is that, so we went through all these years together as going through just me and you doing it. It was me with a camera, you writing the scripts, and then bringing our friends on to act in it, like literally a 4-person crew, knocking out all those little spots we were just going through. And there was a significant moment where then we got to work with what we're seeing now on screen. Yeah. Where we actually got to bring in a real crew, real people. Cause like I was explaining this on the last podcast, I'd never had on-set experience, like acting in something, but you're not really like on set. You're just like floating in when they need you on camera. You know what I mean? Like, but I knew like this, what we're seeing, like I knew nothing like that. So it's like, for me, it was like, it was like, I was learning the whole way. And so were you. So there was a significant moment where we went from just being the scrappy little like YouTube videos where we actually started creating television content as well and shooting like high-end stuff. So why don't you tell us about that story? Like what happened there? So we shot the Unlock series that was really successful. That was doing great. We were shooting how-to videos.
Yes.
We were shooting little how-to videos. You were acting and everything, like as we were showing earlier, the way the commercials would go is Scott would come in at the end and say something and then or
host the how-to.
Yeah. So tell us, like, how did we go from shooting that to actually having real budgets?
The opportunity for the Idol 4 going into Cricket Wireless came up. And they approached the marketing team about it essentially. And they wanted to do a similar
And you guys
big
were
production.
working with an agency at the time.
Yeah, there was an agency that they had been working with, a couple different agencies in Orange County.
Yeah.
And they did a great job. I mean, nothing against them. They did a fantastic job. But a lot of the bigger agencies had more overhead. You know, the costs were higher because they're used to working with companies that have big budgets, you know, for big productions. And productions aren't cheap, as you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they were going to big agencies. So when you do that, you have to expect to pay big costs. To work with those
and you're
folks.
signing a retainer of like $1 million for the year or something.
And I think they actually had a retainer with them at the time because they were also helping with website management, SEO, and
I remember when I still am not on retainer. I don't do them. I just get paid per job. I remember you saying,
I think you were
way
against
better.
it.
I was against it.
Yeah.
Because remember, you were like, do you want to do a retainer? And you were like, I don't know if you want to. And we talked about it. And I was like, I don't want to do it. Just pay me for the work that I do.
Well, there was the potential where you could end up working more and getting paid the same was kind of the concept around retainer.
Right. Yeah.
But, I mean,
you have to like justify all those costs, which I was just like, nope.
It's kind of like salary.
Yeah. Because I was like,
salary.
look, the work that I do, just pay me for that.
Yeah.
And trust that I'm giving you a good price. And if you want to go somewhere else that can get a better price, compare it.
Yeah.
You know, but anyways, long story short. So
I still hadn't taken over fully, on the video. Virginia was very much involved with, coming up with the campaigns and figuring out where that campaign was going to go, how it was going to look.
Yeah.
And that was really the big job because we were partnered with Major League Soccer, at the time. And so the stuff was going to be in stadiums. It was going to be in Subway takeovers.
You guys are going to pay for television ads. You guys are going to pay for online ads.
Right. So it was connected to all these pieces that had to exist across the business.
Right.
The video was just, that was the motion portion of the concept or like the campaign, they'd call it.
Yeah.
So when you had a campaign around a product, they already had the ideas. They would go to the agencies. They'd have their own, but they'd go to the agencies and kind of do that gut check or like that riff on ideas of what might make a really good campaign based on the customer they're trying to get targeted. Who they're trying to talk to.
Yeah. Okay.
So Idle 4 came up and Cricket was going to be taking it, which meant that we had to produce a sizzle, like a full length sizzle, and like a 30-second spot.
Yeah.
And then it also had to live on the device in
which
store.
me and you invented the name demo.
Yeah, I don't even know where that came from, honestly.
So it was demo because the demo phones that sat in the stores and the video would loop on it.
That's right.
Which that was the first version of like a 9x16 social.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. So we've been doing social cuts before there was even social cuts because we were just looping them on the phone for the stores in that 9x16 format.
That's right.
So I remember when Mike, after you left and Mike took your job, he was like asking me, he's like, what are all these terms like demo and like sizzle for this? And I was like, oh yeah, don't worry about that. Those are all terms that me and Scott just came up with.
Yeah,
and he's
like
KSP
he's
video. Like, because he comes from like the industry actually. Like he was a producer in the industry.
He probably had proper terms.
Yeah,
I was just like, this is what Roy understands.
Yeah, exactly. Like he had like real life terms and me and you had our own language. I was like, oh no, that's just how me and Scott talk. But we still use those terms to this day.
That's hilarious.
To this day. Yeah. Isn't that wild?
It's crazy.
Yeah. So anyways, so we were doing demos. So they needed that. So to go on. So Cricket came in and was picking up this device.
Right. And Colleen Hayes was the carrier marketing manager or account manager for Cricket. And she kind of approached me because I was proposing doing the video, which normally it was going to be a big production because the Idle 4 was a premier phone. It was like a flagship phone. It was really important for this phone to do well at Cricket because it was setting us up for a long-term relationship where we could get in more phones. That was the goal, was to get into more phones with more carriers.
Yeah.
So I was basically, I looked at the Idle 3 campaign that was built by the big agency and I was like, look, I watched it with you and I remember I was just like, tell me what camera they used that you think that they shot this on. What are they doing that's so special for it to be this cost? Because we're only getting 2 videos or 3 videos and it's really not cutting, it's not cutting it in terms of the amount of content we need.
Yeah.
So I was just like, do you think you could replicate what they're doing? And you were like, yeah, I mean, they rented a Red camera. Yeah. They just rented these locations off of this site and
did a casting
and we can totally do this. And so I took that back and I was like, look, I think I can save you guys a bunch of money, but also elevate our productions because this was going to mean a bigger budget.
Yes.
It was a big jump in what I was going to be paying.
This is where Scott was very good at asking for money.
Yeah, I did. I had to.
He was great at asking for money, actually.
But I did want to show them, like, look, we're scrappy, and I know these first ones were, like, low budget, but we're capable of more. And I had the confidence at that time because we had shot, we did Color Run. Remember we did Color Run? We shot that on the Red camera. Yeah. I was like, we can do this.
Yeah.
And once I saw what we were able to do with just even a small budget, I was like, even if you guys were able to help us out a little bit on budget and bring us here, I can deliver a similar product. And I remember having a very stern talking to by Colleen before they let me do this, because her job was on the line.
Yeah.
Not just mine, but hers, because the account needed to do its thing, and the phone needed to do well.
And the marketing materials needed to match. The phone
had to sell phones.
Right. And the phone is such a flagship phone that then your marketing materials has to come across as like, this is a premium phone.
Yes.
You can't be like, here's a premium phone with some like subpar marketing materials.
Right.
So the pressure was on.
The good thing was, because they were already working with this big agency to come up with the marketing campaign, I just had to use the verbiage from that.
Yeah.
You know, like with Live Unlocked, it was still along that same line, but it was like, you know, we would apply it to the camera. If we were going to focus on that feature, we could apply it to the screen resolution or the sound, and it had to have all these key features built in. But I from what I remember, I wrote that storyboard for Idol 4 for Cricket, and I proposed it as this could be a cool direction, because it was really important for me to start making cool videos, because they kept pointing it like Samsung and be like, just make them like that.
It's like, we need money for that.
That's not our brand voice. You know, that's not who we are. You know, it's like, let's do our own thing and figure out our own, our
own voice. Yeah.
So I proposed that idea, and she's like, look, I'm going to trust you to do this, but you better deliver.
See, I thought, I thought it was, didn't they make, this is when there was a regime change. Remember Virginia left at this point.
Yeah, she went
There was
to
a
Apple.
new guy that came in, and there was a whole new regime that we had to reprove ourselves.
Yes.
And you were already showing, like, I had all these videos that me and you have worked on. I was under the impression that like the train ride was over. So I was like, we're probably ending because there's a new regime. Like, they want to stick with their big agency to do all this stuff. And maybe me and you will just continue to do little how-to videos together. But I thought there was a specific moment where like the agency dropped the ball, and the commercial that they made was like, no one was happy with. And then you called me and said, hey, can you make because you already had the storyboard in the queue.
Yeah.
And you were like, can you make this for this amount of money if I get it? And I was like, my answer was yes, 100%.
You're on the right path there with how it happened. Yeah. Virginia got a job at Apple and was on her way out during the planning process of getting ready for Idol 4 to go into Cricket.
Again, preparation meeting opportunity.
Yeah.
We were preparing for this moment.
And she had actually done some stuff. Remember, I went on a shoot with that agency where she actually did a spot for that phone, just different carrier, I think. And it was around soccer, and they had this DJ, this upcoming artist in it, which I thought was really cool. Madame Gandhi, I think was her name or something.
Madame Gandhi.
But it was cool. It was like a cool spot. And I got, I learned a few things from how they did stuff, on set that I observed. And so this was going to be another carrier that was picking it up, but they didn't want to use the same spot because that was already being promised to, I think, another carrier. But anyway, when Virginia left, a guy came in by the name of John Marin. Yeah. And John, anytime somebody new came in, they came with their own creative team, that they'd worked with or agency they'd worked with, and they wanted to continue working. Just like when we were working together, I didn't want to split ways. I wanted to keep working with you because we just knew how to work. Yeah. So it was actually the Windows version of that same phone, not the Cricket wireless one, but another one. That situation happened where he went out with his own agency, spent a bunch of money to produce a spot, and nobody on the marketing team liked it. And we were like, how much is this done? Is this paid for? And he's like, yeah, like we're using it. And we're like,
where?
Yeah, exactly. So the carrier marketing managers came to me and they were like, can we use do you have an idea for that? And that was another project, but that was after the Cricket one. So that was the Windows one where we had the painting going on in the coffee shop where the guy plugged into the computer and started typing.
Okay, I want to talk about the Idol one because I want to play. That was our first big job.
That was our first
real budget where we actually got to hire a cinematographer. We got to hire a boy. Yeah, we got a drone guy. I had a real crew. I had grips and electrics.
Yeah,
had an AC.
That was Andy's
big break.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I thought. Because I remember you calling me saying, "Hey, Roy, they dropped the ball on a commercial."
That was later.
And I got 20 grand to do one spot. And at that time, before that, you were giving me like 10 grand or 15 grand to do like 20 spots. So you know what I mean? Like it wasn't. You were like, "Hey, Roy, if I give you 20 grand to do one spot." What can we do it on like a high level? And I was like, yes.
Right.
But I thought that happened because they produced a commercial that couldn't be used.
That was later. And
that was later. Okay, so why did we get to do the cricket one? I'm going to play it here in a minute, but why did we get to do that? Why did you get 20 grand for that?
It wasn't 20. It was 40.
Was it?
Yeah, that cricket one, that first
Oh, sorry,
one,
it was 40.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the cricket one was pretty sure it was 40. And the reason was because I was going to be saving them, honestly, dude, like a lot of money.
No, I know, like, did anyone drop the ball before that?
No one really dropped the ball.
So how did you get them to give us the Idol 4 campaign?
We didn't have unlimited budget is the thing. We only had, starting out, had so much marketing spend, and a lot of it went to the partnerships. And
so by me and you saying we could do one video for 40 grand was like, it was like normally they were used to spending like 200 grand.
Or more. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's watch it.
Yeah, it was a big jump in budget, but it was also a big jump in scale of the production. You picked a great location with that ranch where we had this whole lay of the land to shoot in, and honestly, we crushed it. Everybody was really excited about that spot. No,
here I'll get there. That's a flip one. We'll get into that one too. Hold on. Here we go.
Yeah, this one.
Okay. Here we go.
Yeah,
we'll play this one. So this one is so this was the big break for us.
Yeah.
This commercial, because we at this point we're just shooting things on like a 7D or like, asking our friends to act in it. Like, like me and a Mike Schill running sound and Sue doing makeup. Like this was like not a real
Boyd.
Yeah, pre-Boyd.
Yeah,
this was like
era.
where we actually got to hire a somewhat of a small crew with like a RE camera with like nice lenses, and you know what I mean? So how did you, before I play this, you were talking to Colleen.
Yeah.
And you convinced her that you could make a better video than the agency.
Yes.
Based off of commercials that we were shooting on a 7D.
I swear. That's exactly how it went down.
Wow, talk about sales.
I was
That's
definitely
incredible.
pushing. I'm telling you, dude,
and at the time you were only getting like I said, like anywhere from like $1,200 to $5,000 a video of that me and you doing things, and you convinced her to give you 40 grand.
Yeah, because
you wrote a board for this, right?
Yeah,
this was the first time I got a storyboard.
It was. I wrote a full storyboard.
It was beautiful. It was like everything was mapped out. It was like exactly.
I picked locations. I knew the kinds of talent I wanted to put in there. Yeah, the vibe, the story, the call to action.
So you brought that to Colleen.
Yeah.
And you said, hey, I can do better than the agency. What did the agency present?
I don't know if they came in with, if they even bid on this, to be honest. Like, I do remember there was a point where we brought them in to bid on something, and they kind of dropped the ball with the presentation. It didn't.
Yeah, I
none of the ideas
we
liked, and then they're like, we kind of like Scott's idea better than what you guys presented,
and we're paying you.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I was like, whoa, that would be awesome if that's true.
So what did Colleen say to you when you brought her the board and you said that you would take this on?
You saw how I did the storyboards wasn't like how you guys build a shot list today.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Of course,
it was very visual.
Yeah.
So because when I send this to like a carrier, they have to understand what the story is going to be, and they need to see it. So I would plug in a lot of photos, and actually do like a slideshow, of what the story was going to look like.
Yeah.
And they liked the concept a lot, and so. That pretty much sold it. The storyboard is what sold the idea. The Unreal, Unreal this, Unreal that. Yeah, that was all part of a brand campaign we were aligning to.
You were aligned to. Okay, so like you came in, you pitched her on it, and then
she shared it with the carrier.
How did you come up with 40 grand?
I had a lot to do, I think, with you had we knew what it was going to take to hire Boyd, to get the locations, to do the talent, and the drone guy. I remember he had a cost.
Yeah.
And so we just added it up, and that was kind of the range that we had. I think when we came to the table.
So when you told me you could do something like that for 40 grand, were they nervous, or were they like, oh my God, that's amazing?
Because I'd never done one of this scale. They were nervous more on what they were gonna spend the money, and I was gonna come back with something that was unusable. That was the worry. Because when you sign all those contracts and stuff with the company, it's like, you will deliver these assets for this cost, and whether it's good or bad. If it's bad, we still might have to go shoot something else, and then she's out that money to put towards the next.
And then it makes her look terrible. She could get fired over something like that.
And the timing, remember, we didn't have timing to screw up. There was no, we'll just, if you don't like it, we'll just go shoot another one. It wasn't that. It was like, no, you nail it or
you're out.
Yeah. It was cutthroat.
All right, let's watch it. This is it. This is the one that put us into the bigger budgets. I love that shot. You go and turn that up for me, Sam. Yeah, crank it. There we go.
Oh, and the VR goggles. This was
Yes.
a big, yes. This was a.
She was great, by the way. I still follow
Yeah.
her.
We had great talent.
Yeah, this guy was great too. So we told a bit of a story here.
Right.
She's getting a challenge going.
So we're
Turns on
targeting
her
like the
Mixie
health
app.
and fitness group,
Yeah.
you know.
And he's walking up there.
Yep, the outdoor folks, the
Yeah.
adventurers, you know, the thrill seekers.
Yeah, these lifestyle shots still look really nice.
The young professional,
Yeah, all those shots of Boyd got out of the phone. Oh, look at that. That's a
the
beautiful shot.
influencers. Yeah,
She's walking.
Had that little DJ
Oh yeah,
mix
and then
app.
look at this.
Oh yeah,
the build-up.
I'm still getting chills
Oh
to
yeah, you
this
can
day.
feel it.
Oh yeah, look at the
That's
professional
great.
end card.
Yeah.
dude,
No,
I still
that-
get
that-
chills. I still get chills with that end shot. I don't know what it is.
Oh man, so the crazy part is, so like, just to fill our audience in, this is like, we're coming out of shooting things like with nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I
Scrappy.
said, scrappy.
Our
like,
own vehicles.
yeah,
our own clothes.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And also just like DSLR cameras. So we shot this on an Ari. And we shot Boyd owed an Ari at the time. He had some really nice vintage lenses that we would shoot on. I think they were Pancro, if I'm not mistaken. It doesn't matter. He had really nice
were
lenses.
nice.
So you had this board, and it was all about that. So I remember here a little trick I did that we didn't shoot it this way, but this is where Scott, a little bit of a creative thing that maybe Scott doesn't even fully know, but so Scott was telling a story in his board, right? Like, and it's like these people are using the phone in this way that's helping do whatever. Like she's using it to listen to music. The other girl's like had the little Mixie app thing on her phone. The other one's taking photos. So we would shoot those segments because we would also then, there was a bunch of other footage that you're not seeing here, but we would call them KSPs.
Yeah, key
So
selling points.
Key selling points. So
Yeah.
we would take one
Story.
version like this,
Yeah.
and then we would chop it up into like sections. Now there would be a video that just focused on camera. There'd be a video that just focuses on the music. There's like so on and so forth. So we would cut all that down. So we built that formula that didn't exist before. Because at the time, the agencies were just like, here's your TV spot for X amount, like one deliverable, two deliverables, like a 30-second and a 60-second. Where me and Scott were coming in way less and then giving
delivering more.
giving like a full sizzle, a 60, a 30, and then like these KSPs. So they were getting like 10, 12 deliverables that they would just use on social. And again, this is before social. In the industry now, this is pretty normal. You get a lot of deliverables, but at the time, this wasn't a thing. So we were just cooking.
And
but
it changed how I wrote them.
It changed how you wrote
because
them.
if we were going to have to have a breakout story,
we had to
featuring-
make sure it fit
had
in
to
that.
make sense on its own.
And there was no one
as well as the whole story.
And that was the crazy part, is there was no one teaching us this.
Right.
We just had to figure it out. And Scott doesn't even come from a marketing background, so we had to figure it out. But in regard to like, here's an example of us collaborating together. Is that so? Like, if you notice how I shot this, it's about this girl running, right? She's making this thing. She's got her app out. She's just having a blast. He's enjoying the VR. But then we got her. She hits this, and now look, she's looking down the road. Okay, I'm going to make this challenge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she hits the boom key.
Yeah, she turns it on to get pumped, and then she starts running. This guy's on a hike. So it's all just, if you notice, like he's creatively going uphill. She's got a long run. And then what I did here, because I actually edited this, because this is at the time when I edited everything. I like shot it, edited it. In this case, Boyd shot it, and I still was the editor. Now I have, editors that do it, and I come in and do editing sessions. But at this time, I remember finding this song, being like, this is the perfect song.
It was a good cut.
And then I edited this together. And when I was editing it, I was like, okay, where are we going? Because it gets repetitive of just shots of people smiling, So I was like, I'm going to use this girl running, which we kind of had that in the storyboard, that she runs and she stops and then she continues on. But what I did here is when the beat drops, you'll notice now, like you're showing this, getting a call outs, his little look, everyone's kind of getting into it. And then you'll see when the beat drops, look, she's running this direction now. So it's like subliminal. We didn't shoot it that way.
No.
I flopped it in post. So it was
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So if you watch the video, she starts, right? Because it starts with her running. She's coming up. She meets her challenge. She stops for a minute. She continues on her challenge. And then the way the music goes, it changes.
And you also got that little smile out of her.
Exactly.
There too.
So the music is going, and then watch it. We kind of go into this area where it's like, okay, we're thinking now in the video, like, where are we going? What is happening? You can kind of see it's like repetitive, right? And it's like, like, you know what I mean? And then it builds into that moment.
Yeah.
So that was the whole idea there, that she...
And you're dropping in product features
as we're going.
Yeah, the whole way that you're getting teased by, you know, because you don't know what that is that it's doing, but it looks cool, and it, you know, and it's supposed to pique your interest. But
that was my whole creative input of how to like elevate your story, because I was like, all right, here we go. Like, as it's going through, it's like, cool. Like, the client's gonna like that. There's nice shots of the phone, good looking people. She turns it in, and then. Let me see this.
And then he reaches that summit.
Yeah, he reaches the summit. There we go. I even did the music edit on this too. Did everything. And then she's running that direction now, having a blast. So that was always something subliminal. I was always looking for subliminal things to. Even that ending was manufactured in post. We didn't shoot it like that. We just got a shot of him on the thing where we knew we wanted to get it at Magic Hour.
Yeah,
again, another great way to elevate your budget is like you're just utilizing things that are free.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't need
such a cool shot.
You don't need to like go, oh, I need to spend more money. It's like, no, we just got on the hill exactly at that time to get that shot. And it goes from like, oh man, like how much did you have to shoot that? It's like, dude, that's free.
Yeah.
Like you're there as a production, but I'm saying like if you're thinking like that, you're utilizing it, right? So we get this shot at sundown, so it seems more epic. The wind's blowing, which was like a godsend to make it look even more epic.
Right.
And then, you know, we were just trying to get this shot of him showing the pano thing.
Yes.
And then Boyd was cool on set where he just got this like wraparound of him. And I was like, you know what? In the song, when I first heard it, that buildup of that, like in the song, it actually just goes, and then cuts off. Oh. So I brought it into Logic. I dragged it out, did a whole edit to fit my picture, and then faded it out to build to that moment where I made it feel like we're like wrapping around to match that. And then it builds to that emotional ending of like, and then it cuts, you know what I mean? So I was like, oh man, I was so proud of this edit when I did it. I remember when I showed it to Bud, he was like, that's good. Bud was just like, yeah, no, like you're showing and not telling, you're not repeating, you know, and you're bringing us to somewhere.
Yeah.
Because Bud taught me that in anything you're editing, you can find a story, whether it's in obvious or it's subliminal.
Yeah.
So like, that's why I was pointing this out, because this is just me applying my mentorship, is that, like I said, she's going one direction the entire shoot. He's going the other direction. And then when we hit our end, she's now smiling, going the other direction.
And they're all having a blast.
And they're all having a blast. Yeah. So this spot specifically, I'm not trying to talk about myself. I'm just saying the creative process
great
of
insight,
it.
Because a lot of this I didn't even know. You know what I mean?
But like this is like I believe like why we work so well together, because like I was able to see it and then I was able to go, okay, now this is my job to elevate this.
Yeah.
Because it's like if I was just to shoot everything on paper, it's like, okay, well, that's not what Scott's necessarily asking me to do. Like part of the reason why you're hiring me is to be like, to bring elevate it. You know what I mean? Like bring it to life for me, please. So
when I watched it that first time and I got chills watching it, I knew I knew I had something good.
What happened with this video then when you brought it into the office and showed everyone the first cut?
Everybody
Colleen
was stoked.
Must have been happy, right?
They had like no notes at first. That was like, and that rarely happened. I mean, I feel like ever. But yeah, there were like I don't remember getting any notes on this one, to be honest.
I remember you.
I might have had some.
Yeah, you had some, but I remember when you, like, dude, I spent so many hours, like I stayed up all night, like editing that, like I said, like recutting that music and putting that together. But I still remember, I feel like it was yesterday editing this, and like I know every clip still, because I went back just
frame
for fun to look at it. I'm like, oh, I remember where I was sitting, what I was cutting, because I saw it so many times. But I remember when I sent you the first cut, I was always nervous to send the first cut. When I sent the first cut, I remember you called me, and I always knew when you would call me that it was always going to be something of like looking great, but. And I remember when you called me, you said, I showed this to everyone and you got a raise. Yeah, this commercial gave you a raise and solidified you as the video content production manager now. Now you are no longer.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not
I
yet.
thought this was the commercial.
I did get a.
You did get a raise because I remember
Yes.
everyone was like, it was like, I remember you calling me like all like emotional and worked up.
I sent it to
like,
Colleen, and Virginia was always like, always just include Steve, you know, in the emails, like when you send this stuff out, which I did.
Yeah.
And he really liked it too. Everybody liked it. Colleen came in. I remember. I think she came in and gave me like a high five. She worked remote, but when she came in, she was like, "Awesome job," you know. And I was just
with all that
really
pressure
good
on both of you guys to have to deliver.
Yeah, and Cricket liked it. That was the most. That was also really important. But it was all about the VR goggles, obviously, in this thing. We were
at that
trying
time,
to make
this was a big thing.
Yeah, that was a big selling point because we were giving those away free, basically, with the phone.
I remember that.
So it was a value add. But yeah, Steve Sestouli played it at the holiday all hands meeting for the whole
you won
company.
awards for this.
Internal
technically. Awards.
Yeah, I won an award that year for I think it was like excellence or outstanding achievement or something from product marketing. And a lot of it had to do with these spots. This one and the Windows one that you were alluding to.
Okay, we'll show the Windows one then too. So yeah, this is the one that was like the breakout.
This was the
breakout track, as they say in the music business. So because this is what got you, because you nailed the VR, we nailed the VR goggles.
Yeah,
and then we got
like you said, there were all these other cuts we gave them that were supplemental. We did how-to videos that were hosted by somebody else that wasn't me. We both kind of stepped back on this. Like I might have done some voiceover stuff, but I wasn't on camera anymore.
This is just my cut that I have for my website. But the cut that you guys have that still lives, that's my voice at the end.
Yeah,
doing the voiceover.
Right. There was a line there at the end that was also really important.
The line at the end was something about like
I love that
the perfect amount of Unreal or something like that. But yeah, I did the voiceover for that.
At Cricket Wireless.
Yeah,
something like that.
But like even then, we were working on a scrappy budget.
Yeah,
like even then,
compared to what we had, it was
an elevation,
good direction. You know,
I remember on this commercial too, because me and you were so used to just like me and you shooting it with like I said, with Mike Schill and Mike running camera and just like a 4-person crew and our friends acting. I remember this was like a now real production where Kamel produced it. We brought on like a wardrobe girl. We brought on hair. Well, we always had hair and makeup. We brought on gaffer's grip, a first AC. We had like, I think we had like a 12-person crew, which was like a big deal for us.
Yeah.
Which now it's like we're dealing with 40-person crews. But I'm saying like at the time it was like a 15-person crew plus talent.
Crafty. They were
we had Crafty.
Yeah.
And I remember we actually had lunch break because before me and you would just shoot and be like, all right, well, we shot
for like 16 hours straight.
Yeah, we'd be like, all right, cool, everyone go home.
We done?
Yeah, we just like shot. And so like I remember this job, it was like we had to stop filming for lunch. And me and you were both like, oh, okay, cool. Like it's lunch break. And you're like, hey, like we could, I'm down to keep working. I was like, no, we're kind of in a new, we're in a new element now. And then you were laughing. You're like, oh, I get it. I was like, yeah, we have to take like a lunch break. And you were like, oh, got it. We're like in that place now.
Yeah, growing things.
Yeah. And then I
remember the framework for what everything we produced going forward.
I didn't know that you had to do that stuff at that time. I thought you just shot until you fell over.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
you were great about getting coverage.
Yeah.
You always got great coverage.
So I remember when we stopped for lunch break here, me and you were eating and Reza was there, and then he was like, hey, Roy, so let's just get back into it. I ate and I was like, oh no, like labor laws, like we have to give them a certain amount of lunchtime. And then you were like, oh, and I remember just me and you looking at each other in that moment, just being like, oh,
laughing
we're
about it.
in that place now.
Yeah, we're here now.
Yeah, we're here now. We're not just doing our thing. We're like now working with people that we're hiring. We're now
legitimate.
working. Yeah, we're legitimate. We're working in the industry under the industry guidelines and rules.
When you were able
that was
to bump
so
up,
funny.
we paid people, you could pay people a little bit more.
Well, we were paying them union rates.
Even better talent options because more people would submit for roles that were higher paying.
And the way that I was able to produce it and keep it affordably is I did the casting on this. I would do the casting myself. I would send them to you. You would review it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then like obviously utilizing crew and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I remember we were always very selective of what new crew member we added and justified to why they were added. But yeah, I remember this commercial. It was such a fun time. We shot. So
this led to you coming and filming Ones to Watch with Kaleo in downtown LA.
Oh yeah.
And you shot that, and that was just, it just kept going like that, you know,
working.
Really that was awesome to film with like a real band and like put together.
That was great.
That was a fun shoot as well, but that wasn't different kind of production.